Former NFL GM shares if Shedeur Sanders should start at QB for Browns. Former Colorado star quarterback Shedeur Sanders is one of 4 QBs battling for the Cleveland Browns starting job ahead of the 2025 season. Sanders, veteran Joe Flacco, former Steelers first-round pick Kenny Pickett, and fellow rookie Dillon Gabriel are all competing to be the guy at quarterback for the Browns this fall. So, who should actually be the starting quarterback for the Browns? According to former NFL general manager Mike Tannenbaum, Cleveland should go with Joe Flacco. Tannenbaum pointed to the fact that Flacco has started 191 career regular season games as the reason why. Their schedule is remarkably difficult, he said on Get Up. They start off with Cincinnati, Baltimore, Green Bay, Detroit, and Minnesota. Look, Shedeur Sanders or Dillon Gabriel, they're 2 rookie quarterbacks, may be their future, but as the ultimate bridge quarterback with that sort of brutal start, let's go with Joe Flacco and all those starts. Tannenbaum was the GM for the New York Jets from 2006-12 and also worked in the front office for the Miami Dolphins from 2015-18. He is currently an analyst for ESPN. As Tannenbaum said, he knows that Joe Flacco isn't the quarterback of the future for the Browns, but he also doesn't like the idea of throwing Shedeur Sanders or Dillon Gabriel into the fire immediately against one of the toughest schedules in football. The Browns will open with a Bengals team that just missed out on the playoffs last year and has one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in Joe Burrow. From there, Cleveland will play 5 straight games against teams that were in the playoffs in 2024. While Tannenbaum believes Flacco should start at QB for the Browns, former Pro Bowl receiver T.J. Houshmandzadeh recently shared on the Nightcap podcast what he is hearing about the Browns quarterback competition. Houshmandzadeh says that it is currently a 2-player race and that Shedeur Sanders and Joe Flacco are not in the running. I was told from somebody that's in the building that ain't a player. It's really coming down to Kenny Pickett or Dillon Gabriel, T.J. Houshmandzadeh said. That's what I was told. But now when you get the reports that Shedeur is completing 7 out of 9 passes, like, is it against the starters or is it against the 3S and 4S, the guys that are going to get released? So it seems impressive when you see the graphic, but is it really impressive if it's not against the starters or guys that are going to be on the team? You don't know how they're dividing up the reps, and it's virtually impossible with the amount of snaps. The NFL world thrives on narratives, potential, and the ever-spinning carousel of quarterback controversies. Enter Shedeur Sanders, a dynamic young quarterback, son of the legendary Deion Sanders, and a talent whose rise from Jackson State to Colorado under his father's guidance has electrified college football. And as draft conversations heat up and rosters shake in the NFL offseason, one surprising scenario has emerged. Could Shedeur Sanders be a legitimate starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns? A former NFL general manager, speaking in anonymity, weighed in on this idea, and what he had to say raised eyebrows and possibilities in equal measure. A shifting landscape in Cleveland. The Browns are no strangers to quarterback chaos. Over the past 2 decades, they've cycled through more QBs than some franchises go through linemen. While Deshaun Watson remains the highest paid and most controversial figure under center, injuries and inconsistency have plagued his tenure. With questions about his long-term viability mounting, the front office is reportedly exploring contingency plans, and Sanders' name has surfaced in speculative circles. The former GM, known for drafting a few Pro Bowlers and pulling off a couple savvy trades in his time, doesn't take the idea lightly. Shedeur Sanders isn't just a marketing story or a Coach Prime echo, he says. He's the real deal. If the Browns had a shot to bring him in, hypothetically, through a trade or draft, they should absolutely consider giving him the keys. More than just a name, it's easy to be skeptical of second-generation athletes, especially those coached by celebrity parents. But Shedeur has carved his own identity. At Colorado, behind a struggling offensive line and amid heavy media pressure, he posted eye-popping stats. Over 3,200 yards, 27 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions in just 10 games before an injury shortened his season. The GM points to his poise in the pocket, accuracy on the move, and leadership under adversity as key NFL traits. The kid is cool under pressure, he doesn't rattle, and he's got a whip for an arm. The Browns haven't had that combination in a long time. He's also played in a pro-style offense. You can tell he's watching film like an NFL vet. That last point matters. Shedeur isn't just reacting, he's anticipating. That kind of mental processing separates backups from franchise quarterbacks. The Browns' reality, however, the road from college star to NFL starter, is littered with shattered hopes. And the Browns have already gone all in financially on Watson, making a benching or replacing him a near impossibility in terms of optics and cap management. Still, the GM believes Cleveland should prepare for all scenarios. What if Watson isn't the guy anymore? You need a plan B. If Shedeur is on the board and you have the pick, you better think about it, especially if you're serious about winning and not just saving face. Could Sanders start right away? Honestly, yeah. It wouldn't be pretty early, but I think he'd grow fast. The NFL's changed. Rookies don't sit for 3 years anymore. You drafting a guy in the first round, you expect him to push the starter or take over by midseason. Culture fit and the Cleveland mentality. But starting in Cleveland is about more than just skill. It's about handling pressure, embracing grit, and enduring a fan base that's both rabid and scarred. Does Shedeur have the personality for that? He's not just flashy. Don't let the watches and cars fool you. The kid works. That's Phil the Mitch. Shedeur, Jason. Kid works harder and scarred. Shedeur, Jason. And the kid works. His dad pushed him hard. And you got to remember, he didn't choose Alabama or USC. He helped build something at Jackson State. That takes a different kind of mentality. The GM goes on to argue that Shedeur might be the kind of leader who could help redefine Cleveland's quarterback identity. From cursed to confident. What if? Let's imagine the scenario. It's week 5. Watson struggles. The Browns are 2-3, and fans are restless. Shedeur Sanders is sitting behind a shaky offensive line, but thriving in practice. The GM leans in. If he's ready, even picking up blitz packages, and if the locker room believes in him, yeah, you start him. Because what's the alternative? Another lost season? If Shedeur's your guy, let him grow. Don't wait until you're out of the playoff race. It's a bold vision, one that could spark excitement or dread in Cleveland fans, depending on their tolerance for risk. But in a league where fortune favors the bold, think C.J. Stroud's rookie explosion in Houston, it's not outside the realm of possibility. Final thoughts, Shedeur. Sanders' potential NFL debut will be one of the most closely watched events of the next draft class. Whether he lands in Cleveland or elsewhere, one thing is clear, he's not just playing in his father's shadow, he's casting his own light. And if that light happens to shine in Cleveland, it might just be what the dog pounders have been waiting for. He's not the next Dion, he's the first Shedeur, the former GM says, and that might be exactly what the Browns need.